I'm Colonel Christoffer Knutsen, Norwegian military attaché to the US. And I would like to tell you a little bit about the 99th Infantry Battalion and the OSS Norwegian Operational Group. The 99th Infantry Battalion was a US Army battalion, but with strong Norwegian connections. On January 1st, 1942, Acting Army Assistant Chief of Staff G2, Brigadier General Raymond Lee, proposed lifting the rules that prohibited foreign aliens from serving in the US Army. Initially, the proposal was met with resistance. But eventually, 5 independent, ethnically based infantry battalions were created, including one unit that essentially became a Norwegian-American Foreign Legion. The 99th Infantry Battalion, separate, went on to train or fight alongside famous units like the 10th Mountain Division, the 1st Special Service Force, and several of the Ranger battalions. The 99th was activated on 10 July 1942 at Camp Ripley, Minnesota, and with an authorized strength of 1,000 men. The original activation order gave priority to Norwegian aliens for service in the 99th. Norwegian-speaking American soldiers could, with their consent, be transferred to the battalion. PFC Ingvar Stensby later wrote, "There wasn't a red-blooded American Norski who wouldn't have given his most prized possessions to be transferred to the 99th. The battalion comprised of Norwegian Americans and Norwegian citizens who had volunteered or been drafted into the US Army. Some of the 99th soldiers were ex-Norwegian merchant marine sailors. The replacements that were added during the campaign in Europe usually did not have any Norwegian connections at all. Peter Odland was a Norwegian national from Karmøy in the southwest of Norway. He came to the US aboard the SS Queen Mary in 1938. Peter Odland enlisted in the US Army and joined the 99th. Enlisting in the US Army made him a naturalized American. Corporal Odland was killed during the Battle of Elbeuf in France on August 26, 1944, at the age of 34. 6 years after he first set foot in the US at Ellis Island, he died an American citizen. Richard Lump joined the 99th as a replacement personnel in August 1944. He was a 19-year-old American with no affiliation to Norway. But according to his own account, he soon felt at home with the Norwegians in the 99th. Richard Lump served for 5 months in the 99th before being shot and wounded. He took part in some of the fiercest battles in Europe during World War II. Richard Lump, a native of Des Plaines, Illinois, died this year on 20 January, 102 years old. Last year, he told the Norwegian ambassador to the US, Miss Anniken Huitfeldt, that he still felt part Norwegian. Richard was the last living member of the 99th Battalion. By mid-December 1942, the battalion was transferred here to Camp Hale, Colorado, where it trained to fight on skis alongside 10th Mountain Division. Here, the 99th was called the 10th Little Brother. Training continued at Camp Hale for 8 months. In June 1943, 12 officers and 80 men were transferred to the Office of Strategic Services. The 99th personnel would go on to form the OSS Norwegian Operational Group, deploying in covert missions in France, Norway, and several other places. The 99th arrived in Scotland on 16 September 1943 and landed at Omaha Beach 22nd June 1944. They fought with distinction in several major battles in France, Belgium, and Germany. In Belgium, the 99th was attached to the 66th Armored Regiment. an officer of the 66th, remarked, "This is the only damned infantry outfit in the world that tanks have to worry about keeping up with." The 99th earned 5 campaign streamers: Normandy, Northern France, Rhineland, Ardennes, and Central Europe. 15 soldiers of the 99th received the Silver Star, 20 received the Bronze Star, and 305 awarded the Purple Heart. In addition, volunteers of the 99th deployed in multiple secret missions with the OSS Norwegian Operational Group. Parts of this group became the NORSO, led by Major William Colby, a future CIA operative and the 10th director of the CIA. Colby's team repeatedly attacked Norway's Nordland Railroad in March through May 1945 in Operation Rype, the only combined ski parachute operation ever mounted by the US Army, which aimed at preventing 150,000 German troops from reinforcing the German army following the Battle of the Bulge. NORSO stayed for several months in Norway also after the war ended, assisting Norwegians and Norwegian authorities to disarm and manage German troops. Early 1945, the 99th was included into a newly activated regiment, the 474th Infantry Regiment, but was allowed to keep its number. Only 4 units in the US Army were allowed to keep their designation like this. After VE Day, the 474th Regiment was sent to Norway with the task of supporting Norwegian authorities to help disarm the almost 400,000 German troops still located in Norway, in addition to repatriate 85,000 Soviet prisoners of war, as well as finding and arresting suspected war criminals. The 99th had the honor of being the Guard of Honor for King Haakon VII, formerly returned to Norway early June 1945. They also did parade in Oslo on the 4th of July and 7 July Allied Forces Day. In October 1945, the regiment presented its colors to King Haakon VII. Once their mission was completed, the 474th Regiment prepared to return home. On 1st November 1945, the Viking Battalion made landfall in Boston. It was inactivated the next day at nearby Camp Miles Standish. Thank you.